Holy stuff that dreams are made of, Batman! Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to the show where we fulfill a mission statement that Dragon and I went on long ago, where Dragon aimed to teach me the ways of Batman the Animated Series from his perspective as a historian of this show.
Yeah, you see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way.
And tonight we're talking about, man, oh man, one of the big ones, one of the Mount Rushmores of the series, folks. We're talking about Perchance to Dream.
Yes.
Da 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 da. Okay, Dragon, man, time has not been, it's been like a nightmare to try and record this thing, right? This has been one of those infamous podcasts where it's like fate has just not been on our side. It's just like, no. You're not going to record Perchance to Dream tonight. So something else is going to come up. You know, just don't do it tonight. You don't get to do it tonight. Dragon, goddamn it, we're testing fate. We're going to do it. We're going to rip off the Band-Aid, the proverbial awesome Band-Aid that is Perchance to Dream.
So what'd you think?
Oh, I loved it, Dragon. I mean, I think that the quick way to sum up my thoughts on this episode is I don't want to say it's out of the question, but I would be hard-pressed to find an episode that impresses me more than this one in the run of the show.
Well, I mean, this episode tops a lot of top 10 lists of Batman episodes. I mean, it's definitely in the top 5, if not more often than not, like a number 1 or number 2 pick for a lot of people. So this is, again, one of the finest examples of a Batman episode as far as the eye can see. I'll tell you that. This is one of the peaks. There are other episodes that also get up there, and of course some that rival this one. A lot of people would argue, Heart of Ice is, of course, another excellent contender.
I would put this step above Heart of Ice, honestly. Heart of Ice is a great character study, but this is, Dragon, this is basically, it set the benchmark for high-concept storytelling and animation, I think.
Sure. And again, everyone has a favorite. Everyone can make a valid argument, I'm sure. I mean, for example, like Heart of Ice, you could probably make an argument over execution, like animation and everything. Like it looks flawless, at the end of the day. But again, every episode's like you can't miss when you get to like a lot of like top 5, top 10 material for Batman. It's like throw a dart, you can't miss.
All right, so I'm sure you have some interesting backstory on this, Dragon. You want to fire into it?
Sure. Okay. So, Chance to Dream. It was directed by the great Boyd Kirkland, of course, who's directed other favorites such as The Joker's Favor, Grey Ghost, another one of your favorites.
The Joker's Favor is also really good. I keep forgetting about that episode, but it was just the concept of it, the storytelling in it.
Paul Dini writing at its finest, I tell you.
Oh yeah, it was a really good morality play.
Another great one from Boyd Kirkland. It's Never Too Late.
Did we do that one already?
Yes, remember that's it's kind of the Godfather-esque one. That's the one where we have Arnold Stromwell. He goes, Batman takes the mobster Arnold Stromwell and he takes to his kid in the rehab.
Oh yeah, sure, okay.
Anyway, now Boyd Kirkland, he's very well known for every. Without boring you with all the details, essentially, Batman the Animated Series had roughly 4 units of production, right? Basically, because they had all these episodes, and they basically delineated like a number of episodes to a unit, and each unit had like a lead director. And Boyd Kirkland was one of those 4 directors. Now, Boyd Kirkland, every director had a specialty, and Boyd Kirkland's specialty was he loved staging dialogue sequences. Where a lot of people are like, "Oh boy, a dialogue sequence." Boyd Kirkland, I mean, rest in peace, Boyd Kirkland. He knew how to do it better than the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode, again, complimenting Boyd Kirkland directing, of course, one of the top-tier directors of Batman, by the way, Boyd Kirkland, is written by one of the most excellent writers on Batman, Michael Reeves. Now, Michael Reeves, of course, he was one of the writers on Mask of the Phantasm. He wrote Feet of Clay, and he was he was also joined on the writing staff by Lauren Bright, She I believe co-created Renee Montoya, if not created her entirely, and did the episode POV. Then there's Joe R. Lansdale. Now Joe R. Lansdale, he did more other stuff in the DCAU. He did an episode. One of these days you'll see, Tiki. It's the Bizarro Superman episode, Identity Crisis. He did that one.
Nice.
So the animation studio on this was Dong Yang. Now Dong Yang, of course, they probably did the most, if not rivaled to do the most of the animated series episodes. They did the animation for Joker's Favor, Two-Face Part 2, and Appointment in Crime Alley. All wonderful looking episodes, by the way.
I feel like they're kind of like, they're not the flashiest animation studio, but they're very, very consistent, and they really get the job done, and they're going to give you a quality product.
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's see. So overall in the episode, so here's some big points here. So you'll notice there's a lot of noir and Hitchcock influence in this episode, and that's something
I'm so glad you brought up the Hitchcock.
That's something definitely from the get-go. They wanted tonally. I think Radomski was aiming for the Hitchcock.
This episode just screams Vertigo Dragon.
It does, and they literally they pretty much lifted the climax of Vertigo.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's from the get-go. I mean, a lot of that is like the stamp of one of the co-developers of the animated series, Eric Radomski. He loves the noir flair and the Hitchcockian film reference, the old film references, specifically Hitchcock, and they definitely put that in here. Of course, you have some references to Maltese Falcon. I love that movie, by the way. As many people do. And let's see. So of course, with the climax, as well as a nod to Hitchcock, there's a big nod to one of the things that influences Kevin Conroy's performance on Batman. It's definitely a big, the whole episode title, Perchance the Dream, it's from Hamlet.
Sure.
Which Kevin Conroy famously has always said, he basically plays Batman like Hamlet.
And Dragon, I'm going to have a chance to see Hamlet coming up at the beginning of next year, but I'm very intimidated by it, I must say.
Really?
Yeah, it's like something like 4 acts or something, right?
4 acts? Oh, boy. Wow.
Yeah, see why I'm a bit intimidated?
Yeah, I see why you're intimidated, yeah.
And I bet all those acts are like super long.
I think it's a safe bet.
Anyways.
So this is a very personal episode for Kevin Conroy, because he always cites this episode along with Phantasm, but of all the episodes of the animated series, this is his favorite as an actor, because he's able to explore Batman as an actor and kind of see the many facets of Batman. He plays various different subtle Batmen in this episode, and versions of Bruce Wayne and such. And I think he always expresses this in a little weird way on commentaries and stuff, because I think he kind of labeled it for himself, like how to play these Batman. I think never really communicated in the commentaries, but as we go through, we'll dive into that. The big thing that he played with this episode, the way he kind of reflects on it, is that he viewed the Batman character, specifically in this episode, as there's always a temptation for Bruce to be just Batman. Because again, of course, when the Waynes die, that's when Bruce Wayne dies. And the reason he's not just Batman all the time, again, of course, famously, it's like the whole Clark Kent Superman thing, where in this case, with Batman, we have kind of the flip side, where, he's always, he puts on the Bruce Wayne facade. And that's kind of what Kevin Conroy is famous for with the Batman role, is that he is Batman 24/7, but the reason he continues the guise of Bruce Wayne, I mean, he could have just dropped off the face of the earth. The reason he keeps the guise of Bruce Wayne is, Bruce is the connection to his humanity and to his parents, and to the hope, the hope of the mission. It's not just like honoring his parents' company. It's like kind of like keeping the innocence alive in what he fights for. So there's a lot of layers that in his process on Batman Bruce Wayne. It's very fascinating. Like Bruce is like the constant reminder of it's kind of the constant reminder of his parents, and that's why Bruce Wayne's still around, despite just kind of being this other thing now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Lastly, Alan Burnett, of course, Alan Burnett, famous producer and overseer of Batman for many years, who's recently retired from Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay, which I recommend to everybody. It's if you want an R-rated Suicide Squad movie done right, Alan Burnett's your guy. He pitched, basically, from what I understand, he pitched the what if story. Like, what if Bruce Wayne wakes up and he's not Batman? Kind of how it all got. It's kind of how it all got started. Oh, and real quick, because this is a very pivotal part of the episodes we're going to jump into. Right, we'll use this as the transitioning point. Of course,
Okay.
when we get our title card, Perchance the Dream, we have some wonderful score of the episode played, and a lot of the times when you see a Batman episode, of course, we always give credit to Shirley Walker, and of course that credit is more than applicable. It's just that Shirley Walker, she had a number of other talented people like Mike McQuistion and other Lolita Ritmanis and like other composers that work on Justice League and stuff years later. And some composers do an episode where she doesn't. But things like Mask of the Phantasm and this, it's all Walker. So this is an episode that's all Shirley Walker in the music, and my God, does it show!
And you could really tell. I mean, this is basically like a mini Mask of the Phantasm. You know what I mean? It's like in 20 minutes we get like almost like a whole symphony, like of different themes and emotions.
Like Walker would do like the main themes, and like she'd figure out the music, and usually her guys would run with it. But this is all Walker, from what I could find. So
Nice.
Okay, so we start the episode off.
Okay, so we start things off with a bang, to quote Heath Ledger Joker. Batman is chasing some crooks into a warehouse when suddenly...
He sneaks into this facility, really good sneaking around animation, and he's on a catwalk, and he's hit by this blinding light. And by the way, I've always loved this little detail. It always amused me. I love the little sparkle effect in the eyes, where it's just he's just getting like the sparks out of his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Then this mystery device. It bears down on him. And again, I love that if you're watching this for the first time, you have no idea. You're like Batman, like, what the? You have no idea what this thing is. Of course, in the very end, you know exactly what it is, exactly what this.
But for a long time in the episode, it's almost like a magic trick dragon. It's like literally the magician shows you exactly what he's going to do right at the start of the episode and then distracts you for a large portion of it until the very end.
So in addition to an Inception parallel with this, you also have a Prestige parallel.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
An analogy there.
You know what? I'm going to try my very best to like kind of correlate every Christopher Nolan movie to this.
Well, we'll see
how I do.
We'll see how that goes.
Okay, well, let's see. So insomnia is all about, like the deprivation of sleep. And this is, exploring the nature of dreams. So there you go. We can chalk that up right there.
Well, I'm just saying, I think we might run into some issues with Interstellar.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyways.
Anyway, so again, also, I'm so glad in bringing up the magic trick of it all. I love how we have these little clues throughout the episode because we have a clue with the device. And of course, the big thing to highlight, I hope you picked up on a little bit, is that in the Shirley Walker theme, you notice it's a huge clue as to what the mystery is going to be in the opening theme. We use a theme from another episode, and we
I mean, I gotta tell you, Dragon, I don't like. I wish I like. Honestly, the only reason I know that is because you've told me it's in there. Like, I didn't pick up on it the first time I watched it. I knew to look for it this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. More on that later, but it's just a little cool foreshadow as to what's going on, how we play with that theme and reorchestrate it all the time. Okay, so it's a harsh cut from, again, that, like, what the? Bruce Wayne, he wakes up from bed, like, and he's greeted by Alfred. And, of course, we have to really pay attention to the notes of the intricacies of Conrad's performance here, because he does a lot of really great subtle changes in the Bruce Wayne performance this episode, because he goes from we classically have where he looks like Bruce Wayne, but he has the Batman voice again as he normally would. He wakes up, he's all groggy, and he remarks to Alfred, and he's thinking, okay, it's another day in paradise.
Yeah, he's basically just like, oh man, how did I get out of there, Alfred? That was a tight scrap I was in.
I fell in that trap like an amateur. How'd I get here? Was it Robin? And of course, Alfred. He's a little puzzled.
Alfred's just like, oh dear, sir, I thought you were engaged to Miss Kyle. Oh, never mind. It's none of my concern.
Slowly, Alfred's like, okay, maybe he's a billionaire playboy. I don't know what's going on. Not my place to say. So then, Bruce saying, Alfred, this is a joke, not funny. Sir, I assure you, if there's any joke here, it's on me. Maybe some coffee will clear the morning cobwebs. And then this is where things get really fun here, folks. Oh boy, this is where things get great here. So we have this great musical kind of musical suspicion here. This is where like the theme starts kicking off here, and so Bruce goes to the grandfather clock. Of course, he pulls the handle, it hits the switch, and he'll go in the Batcave, and he notices what's not working. So he has this Kevin Conroy's delivery here, and I love how there's a lot you can read into this episode, and I feel there's some psychological things you can add to the insomnia parable. There are some psychological things you can definitely read into a lot of this. Where
okay, you know what? I've got my interstellar parable. You want to know what it is?
What is it?
Okay, well, first of all, introduce the mind-blowing twist that we see.
You mean the let me get to it. So,
all right.
Okay, so there's this great scene where again Bruce gets really sarcastic. Slow sarcastic he gets here. Where he says, but first again the shock of it all, where he says, "It's not here. I beg your pardon, sir. The entrance to the Batcave. Why is it all sealed up? Batcave. Yes, Alfred, the Batcave. You know, a big hole in the ground with a car in it that's all black. Remember?" It's just, I love how sarcastic the animation is. And I wonder if there might be a level here where it's Bruce feeling that he might be harsh on Alfred sometimes, and maybe that's why he's uber sarcastic in this dream.
Mm-hmm.
So as he's getting this really snarky with Alfred, which we've never seen before, he's never snapped at Alfred like this. And again, it's he's interrupted by here's the big moment, folks. And I love that it's like if you take away the opening credits, like the opening title cards, 3 minutes into the episode, boom, we hear a voice. Son, is everything all right? And we reveal Thomas and Martha Wayne. And
what a twist! All right, so Dragon, my interstellar parable. So you know how Interstellar is basically all about the concept of making up for lost time, like time that you can't get back. You know, we have that whole thing where it's like, Murph, I'm on the ship. I was in the highest planet for like 30 years, Murph. It felt like 15 minutes, Murph. So there you go, Dragon. This episode is all about kind of the lost time of it all. You know, all the time that Bruce Wayne spent, you know, like pining for his parents, and suddenly they're back in the picture, you know?
Right.
All right. And also, to be clear, I'm not going to be talking about Nolan's first movie, the indie movie he's done. I saw that.
No following, then.
No following. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, okay, you know what? Following. He's following Batman. There you go.
I'm going to do you one better than that. There is a bat symbol, a classic yellow oval bat symbol in that movie, and of course we have that with the animated series all the time.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
All right, let's see. So, but yeah,
I believe I have like Memento. Obviously, the Batman movies kind of speak for themselves.
Sure.
I believe I have Memento and Dunkirk. I need to connect Memento and Dunkirk somehow.
How is it said usually?
Dunkirk.
There we go. All right, but yeah, so we have Thomas Wayne, son, you seem upset. Something the matter, and of course, just like 3 to 4 minutes in, it's this huge reveal, and just the Waynes are back, they're alive, and I just love Bruce's reaction, where it can't be you. It can't be. And again, I love how kind of Hamlet-esque Conroy sounds, even more so than usual here. It's just these big mythic moments in Batman's life, and he runs out of the room. So again, right now, so far we have kind of classic Batman. We have Thomas Wayne. So again, it's basically Kevin Conroy doing a deeper version of his Bruce Wayne voice. And then, this is what I love, this fascinating cell thing on the rewatch when we were getting ready for this. I loved all these little calls that I never had to really go through the episode analytically and kind of find out all these little beautiful nuances where Bruce is splashing water on his face, and that when Thomas Wayne kind of sneaks up behind him, he checks again, being the consummate medical doctor. And I love how we keep that alive with Wayne. He was checking his son's eyes, kind of doing the taking his pulse, checking the dilation of his pupils. Bruce kind of snaps from the Batman voice to the Bruce Wayne voice, because now, even though he knows something's off here, again, like Bruce Wayne is kind of alive again, so he's getting back into the Bruce Wayne voice. And instead of a false facade, he's kind of feeling that again. He's kind of feeling like Bruce Wayne again. Says, I'm fine. I think I just partied too hard last night. Just so shaken in the delivery there.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see. He then goes over to Alfred and he's like, Alfred, I apologize if this seems strange, but tell me about my life. Humor me.
Real quick, one last thing on Thomas Wayne, because he also had that great golf line too. Where
oh yes, we have to bring up that line. Yes.
Okay,
oh well, son, you have to get ready for your appointment, and me and your mother have an appointment of our own
on the golf course.
God.
And by the way, a little fun fact: I love that Thomas Wayne looks like an older version of Bruce too. Like it's something kind of moving about seeing Thomas Wayne, who was never able to grow old, just kind of like as an older man, and like he was like being the old, ex-doctor on the golf course, like the affluent men, the lawyers and doctors, golfing. So he was able to get to that point in his life. So there's something kind of beautifully sad about that. It's like we're never going to see Thomas Wayne like this actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Bruce is processing this, and he's asking Alfred for the odd favor. It's an odd favor. Sorry, did you want to pick up the...
Yeah. Like I said, just basically kind of like tell me about my life. So Alfred's basically explaining that Bruce is technically the head of Wayne Enterprises ever since his father retired, but Lucius Fox really runs things.
Not that you're not capable, sir.
Not that you're not capable.
No,
and also,
it's fine.
You to be married to Selina Kyle.
All wrong. Oh, it's a leisurely existence, I admit, but there are worse lives to live. So this is an oddly Phantasm-esque idea. And by the way, of course, production-wise, I want to say this is made in tandem with Phantasm, because Phantasm's like something, I guess, was the beginning of the year they were working on. At the same time, this may have been already in production. So, Michael Reeves wrote them both, so it makes sense. The point is, it's this really neat Phantasm-esque idea where in Mask of the Phantasm, it's a story about Bruce trying to have a relationship with Andrea Beaumont, and what Tiki and I were kind of talking about during our commentary podcast on that is we have that beautiful painting of the Waynes, and the design of Thomas and Martha Wayne looked a little bit like Bruce and Andrea. As in, he, basically his way of moving on would be kind of like, living the life that his parents had. And we kind of have that with Selina and Bruce here, with the fun fact that both Thomas and Martha Wayne are voiced by Kevin Conroy, and as we meet Selina Kyle, the same voice actress, Adrienne Barbeau. She does so again, it's kind of piggybacking off of that idea in Phantasm of kind of having a happy ending like the Waynes, like living the life they wanted you to live. It's kind of nice. All right. So speaking of Selina, we're in Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah, Selina drops by, says that the parents thinks that he could use a little cheering up. I like how her, she's kind of playful at first. She's like, and who better to cheer you up than the woman you're going to marry in a week? And then it's like, oh, Bruce, you really are upset. I like how she changes demeanor. She's like really in tune with his emotions.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many little touches here. I mean, I love that this is where we have kind of that cool vest look from Batman v Superman I was talking about. Basically, the way he looks like here is the way Ben Affleck looks in one of my favorite scenes from Batman v Superman.
God.
No, seriously, I remember when we saw those.
No, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And there's also I won't go into it, there's a very subtle dirty joke in this scene too with Selina, but it's again, they were slipping past the censors. That's why I bring it up anyway. Mm-hmm. So then we have this great musical reveal where again Bruce is kind of letting his guard down here. Again, he likes Selina. He's like, well, I can kind of have a life with Selina. It's kind of weird. I'll confide in her. And he's like, I feel as if I'm someone else. It's crazy, I know, but I feel as though I'm. Then of course she looks out the window. Batman. Of course he turns. Dun, dun, dun. We hear the Batman.
Dragon. This moment is just like it's so surreal. It's like a huge mind fuck for me.
Basically, it's the most Twilight Zone you could take the Batman theme because you start like and just the reaction on Bruce as we extend the Batman theme.
Oh, Bruce is horrified. He's just like, oh my god, like my world is crumbling down around me.
Such a fantastic Twilight Zone act break for a Batman episode. It's just such a great act break. Could you imagine this going to commercial or dun, 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 just that shock and awe look on Bruce's face. Dun, dun, dun. So one of the great subtle things on a rewatch with this episode is that psychologically, you can see again to parallel Inception here. Psychologically, like we have Fisher has defenses when we get into Inception. Bruce has his own psychological defenses. I'm not saying like he hadn't hired like a private security company or anything, but his mind is thanks to the programming at work on him in this episode. There is a psychological defense in the programming to throw off Bruce's suspicion. Think about it. Bruce is having doubts. Selina shows up. He sees Batman. He thinks that he might be Batman. The minute he thinks that, Batman shows up outside the window to prove that, no, you're not Batman. Batman exists. So it's like, again, like there's a Batman contingency in the programming on the device on Bruce's head. Fascinating.
I never really thought about it like that, Dragon, but you're right.
No, it gets even better. You just wait. So again, Bruce is running to the elevators and out of the building. A really intense sequence, and then we have again. I love the little clue here that Batman's in broad daylight. There's something off about this scene.
Well, he's in broad daylight, and he's also stopping a jewel heist from a store that has a bunch of jumbled letters. Is the name of it?
I know, clever little clues. I love it. Because you think animation error, wrong. So Batman, he leaps on the car, and again, it's kind of what Batman would extrapolate that either he would do or like how people see him, because he does this really effortlessly. If you think about the stages, he leaps on the car, he like tosses the driver, he runs right into a fire hydrant. He has this great little pole landing where like he spins around the pole. It's a fancy little landing. The animation's just really great on all this. Like the hydrant's like it's raining water because he smashed into the hydrant, and Selina has this moment where just isn't he fantastic? And I love this little moment. It's a rare moment of pride from Batman in his own actions here, where he says, "Actually, yeah,
that is nice."
You'll notice Batman's grappling away, not using the grappling gun. He kind of grapples 60s style. He climbs up a building.
God, I did kind of notice that. I'm glad you pointed that out. Yeah.
So Bruce is kind of asking the obvious questions here. Who is he? He just appeared in Gotham a few weeks ago. Again, there's like this whole new Batman narrative at work here of like, it's like he just showed up. It's like Batman year one for this Batman. But right. Who is he? I have no idea.
Bruce asks Selina if she knows about Catwoman, and she that's when she starts to worry a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like I'm losing my mind. That's what. So, of course, if he's thinking he's losing his mind, he's going to somebody he trusts very much so in Leslie Tompkins.
And no, not season 3 Leslie Tompkins.
Oh, God, no.
That could you imagine?
That would screw him up even worse. But speaking of which, though, with Leslie, I love that, again, this is another contingency of his own mind here, because he's going to somebody he trusts. Leslie Tompkins is the person, the angel of mercy of Bruce Wayne. She's the doctor for Batman. She patches him up like when he can't go to a hospital. Like the only person that he could go to if he's having these serious doubts and he's just questioning things. What Leslie's telling him here, I would argue, is like his mind's defense, just kind of selling him on, and again, the end of the scene, it works on him. It is selling him on the lies, is selling him on the falsehood, where it feels as if his she basically explains that you being Batman. Yeah, you're right. Bit of Memento.
He wants to believe something really, 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 really bad, even though it's a lie, Dragon.
God.
I was just waiting to pull that out. Okay, we just have Dunkirk, and then I've done it.
Okay, so Tompkins is explaining that he created Batman as a delusion, essentially, that you felt your life was handed down to you, and you're unconscious. And it's so meta that she's talking about unconscious and everything. Where again, his unconscious is kind of at work here. Your unconscious created this Batman lie, convincing you that you lost your parents and you became Batman. And as soon as you find, basically, he says, "Oh, well, when will this go away?" Well, as soon as you find pride in your own existence, these delusions, in theory, will vanish. And then we have this beautifully sad line from Kevin Conroy, where he says, "Then the nightmare's over."
Yeah, that's just it's really poignant.
And that smile, like again, so his mind's defenses are like again, the programming's working on him here. We're like, hey, everything's okay. Batman was a lie. It was fantasy. It's like you watched the Batman movie, essentially.
Time to cancel the show, folks. Time to just kind of get an epilogue of him marrying Selina and call it a day.
Yeah, it's just that smile he gives. That smile he gives, and things are going to get sadder for Bruce. And there's this one moment that really haunts me of like how bad I feel for Batman in the episode where, okay, let's see. So now it's night. So like the day-night cycle here. So importantly, it's night. It's night. Bruce. So he's accepted that this is a dream come true. He hugs his father. He invites his parents to the opera with he and Selina.
Would you and Mom like to come with me and Selina to the opera? I just love pleasantries, Dragon. Pleasantries.
I know, like I love like one of the happiest times, one of the happiest deliveries on Bruce Wayne you'll ever hear. It's now like not if he's genuinely happy for a moment. That's the tragedy of Batman. He can't. Tom King's trying in the comics right now. Tom King's trying to question like, can Batman be happy? Which is interesting. But I'm just saying classically before we see how that pans out because I think, there might be some doom spell. I'll say that much. The point is that question, can Batman be happy? It's kind of that interesting question. In this case, we're going to answer a big fat no in this case. It's going to be tragic, but it's that fascinating question. Can Batman be happy while still being Batman? And glad to see you're feeling like your old self again. And oh boy, I'm sorry. It's kind of getting me right now. So this is going to be.
No, go ahead.
So now Bruce is being all jokey. He says, "Hey, Alfred, have you found the entrance to the Batcave yet?" No, sir. I says, "Good, because if you had, we'd both be nuts." So he's playing the bon vivant kind of playboy Bruce Wayne, where he's joking, he's having fun. Nice to see you in good humor, sir. I'll press you. I'll get your suit ready for the opera. And this is the delivery from Kevin Conner makes me sad, where it's, "Why shouldn't I be, Alfred? My life is a dream.
Yes, I agree. That really got to me on a rewatch too.
The best dream that anyone ever had." And the way he says that with the Shirley Walker
music. Like the timing on it, it's like immediately after he says it, the whole thing comes crumbling down like a house of cards.
Oh yeah, and it's the minute he says that, and of course it's that Shirley Walker music drives the knife in there in that scene of like da, da, da. And I love this, Steve. I love it. We don't finish the music cue for Batman. We don't finish it because we gotta cut it off and then we change in this like the horrifying reality. And it sets in. So he's reading the paper, and what happens when he reads the paper?
All the letters and things are just completely scrambled and it's completely incoherent.
So here's an interesting detail, Tiki, is that the idea of being unable to read in a dream. This is based on this thing is based on something in real life. However, I don't know if it's because of the animation studio or what, but like you can technically read in the dream, but there are some theories at the time. Like Alan Burnett read at one point that there was a theory I guess in the 90s that you weren't able to read in the dream, and years later it's been disproved. But again, at the time they thought that, and people loved this episode so much they believed in it for the longest time. That's the funny thing, and I was one of them. I think I believed it. I never recalled reading in a dream, but I guess technically
Dragon, I actually kind of I've had look, I'm really in tune with like lucid dreams and stuff like that. I try to lucid dream as much as I can. And so I can definitely recall moments like this where I'm trying to I actually remember specifically one time where I had gotten a hold of like Lost season 3. It just ended, and somehow I had gotten a hold of the DVDs for Lost seasons 4, 5, and 6, and I wanted to read the synopsises on the episodes, but I couldn't, Dragon. I couldn't. It was driving me crazy. I was like, no, it's all here. The rest of the series is here.
So it's very, very interesting, and again, regardless, there is like a left side, right side brain function thing. So that's again, it makes sense enough. I love that it's like grounded enough. Enough science there, but then of course, it's like a leap that just it feels so natural. They got away with it. Again, I think that speaks to the testament of the quality of writing and pseudoscience. All right, let's see. So then, and here's the detail that kills me. And I love this detail, and this is why, honestly, this is the bit that I think subconsciously as a kid sold even more so. Is that I love that you can see the little twitch of the side of his head, where basically like he's feeling a side of his head as if it's like that side of his brain is signaling to him that okay, this is a dream. Right. Like he's feeling like a headache on the side of his face. And then, of course, now the Batman voice is coming back in this moment. So again, the performance is very, very well communicated, and he's checking all the books in the library, and the music's intensifying. He's frantically checking all the books, and they're either blank or jumbled pages. He's basically doing like a Citizen Kane, trashing the room and trashing the manor here as the Batman.
Just like, it's so intense. It's just the best way to describe it. It's just like I said, just everything just goes down in an instant. It's just like it crumbles.
And this honestly is a front runner for like one of the big striking images from the episode for me, because of course the image we have before us is a biggie, but second to that, the image of, if you need an image to sum up Perchance the Dream, it might be Bruce on the ground, like cradling his head, and just unable to process this, and he says nothing makes sense as his parents enter the room, and just that shot of him on the ground, like in that fetal position, with his parents in the frame. It's a hauntingly beautiful image,
Oh yeah.
And again, I love the intake. This is the mental defenses kicking in again. Like the minute he's questioning things, the parents are the big trump card of like, okay, his parents are going to reassure him. They enter, says, "Son, you're, what's wrong?" And he says, "No, you're a lie." and he runs out of the room, and he runs into the TV room, and of course they're talking about Batman, and of course you get to see I love the embitteredness of the performance here, where he's like, Batman, always Batman. He throws a statue through the TV, kind of Nicholson-esque from '89.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I wonder if the reality of him being Batman. I wonder if there's like that frustration of what he does, of like Batman, always Batman, that he always has to be Batman. I think that's like reality trying knocking at his door here, saying, "Hey, you are Batman. Wake up."
It's fascinating that in the logic of the dream, he knows that Batman has significance to his life. He doesn't know exactly what Batman is, but the second that Batman enters the scene, it's like this huge dark omen. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and then we have this really poignant, sad moment for this is the last big sad moment for Bruce for me here, where his father tries to calm him down, where Thomas Wayne tries to calm him down, and he says he's behind all this. Somehow, I know he is. I know it, and he runs off, and he runs off to find out what's going on. He says, "You're not well, son." And as he does it, we see that he leaves his parents behind. You get to the tragedy that Batman. You've seen Bruce abandon his parents like that against the fact that the Wayne family just can't be whole. They can't be together. That's
all right. So he.
Now we're in the Vertigo third act of it all here, folks.
Yes. Here we go. So he goes to a sports shop. He buys a grappling hook, a rope, and a flare gun, and some flares.
Okay, so just in case you're curious, T, I just want to let you. There was a flare gun sequence, but they cut it out.
I was curious, Dragon. I'm glad you cleared that up.
For years, I always remember I was cataloging all of Batman's gadgets.
Like, flare gun? Okay, I mean, I guess I'll just go with it. Whatever. It is a dream after all. There's some things that's exactly how I took it, Dragon. I took it as like it's like he's trying to recreate Batman, but it's kind of off.
Well, the idea was that he was going to signal Batman for the scene later on.
That's also kind of, I figured it was sort of a deleted scene too. That had something to do with that. Yeah,
exactly. I guess they cut it out for they want to like circumvent the drama of it all, and I guess they were doing so good pacing wise, they didn't want to lengthen. I guess so. It was I remember I was cataloging all those gadgets. And I always remember that line. I need a flare gun. Flares. And I looked when I rewatched, like, where are the flare guns? And it wasn't until like years later, in like Justice League Unlimited season 2, did I see the bat flare.
Oh no! Oh god!
Anyway, so he gets out of the sports shop, and he's accosted by two members of the GCPD. They're asking. And again, Tiki, it's the mental defenses kicking in. Again, it's like the whole like antibodies of the mind that we saw in Inception here, where again it's part of the program, and they're trying to stop him and bring him back. Like, does it really? They were able to track Bruce Wayne down at the specific sports shop at the specific time. Isn't that a little convenient?
You're right.
They show up and they're asking for his license for like a parking violation. It says, Bruce Wayne, your parents are very concerned with us. Like, they were just now asked to find from the Wayne family. This doesn't make any sense for a parking violation. And again, it makes wonderful dream logic, though. Yes.
Exactly. In dreams, it's kind of like this weird narrative where as it's going on, it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm just gonna go with this crazy wackiness that's happening.
They ask him, and Bruce is he's accommodating, says very well, but not right now. And he gives chase, and he's running away, hops a fence, and he climbs a building. Again, guy moves like Batman. Okay, so then we're in. I love this as a setting. And Tiki, before getting ready for this, I never really dawned on me how significant this was for a setting where we bring it back to the cemetery. We bring it. I love that thematically. He has to go where the Waynes, where the Waynes are buried. He has to go to the cemetery. It's defining of who Batman is. I love subconsciously. That's where the
fact that this is part of Batman's nightly routine and deep rooted in his subconscious. He absolutely knows that. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. If there's any place that Batman's going to go every night, it's going to be here.
And like thematically, he's seeking reality, and seeking reality, he has to seek the ultimate reality that he lost them. And again, in seeking the ultimate reality, it's that. It's the kind of almost like a Christmas Carol effect, where again the ultimate reality, it's the tombstone, it's the headstone, and just using it as the setting. And of course, with the bell tower is our big action set piece. Of course, the Vertigo at all specifically.
It's so Vertigo. I mean, I'm sure they had that completely in mind.
No, that was very intentional. It is absolutely Vertigo. Yeah. That was the point. So, okay, so let's see. Hops a wall to avoid the cops. Really well, by the way. So then we get to the Vertigo wall. He climbs the bell tower.
Oh, climbs the bell tower. Waits for Batman. Batman shows up shortly.
In a lightning storm, we have the big declarative Hamlet. This is where they chose this over the flare gun scene. We have the big declarative Hamlet scene. Here I am. I've been waiting for you. You did this to me. Oh my God, he's Conroy's most Hamlet-like Batman. So then we have this beautiful painting of like one of those stills of like the painted face with the animation on, like we had with Two-Face.
Oh yeah.
Then Batman arrives, and we have here's the big prize fight for you folks: Bruce Wayne versus Batman.
Right. So
the two sides of our hero battling.
That in a DC fighting game, in an Injustice game.
Oh, yeah. So, and this is the last level of the points of Conroy here. So here's the fourth one. So again, we have just kind of standard Batman. We have Bruce Wayne. We have Thomas Wayne, and we have essentially evil Batman. That's how he refers to it. He plays evil. It is kind of
I wouldn't necessarily say evil. I mean, he's I would say like maybe I don't know, like evil's a strong word.
I'm just saying that's how Kevin. That's what I mean on the commentary. Kevin Conroy calls it evil Batman. They're supposed to think evil Batman, but no, it's
all right. If Conroy himself refers to it as evil, we have to go for it.
Well, look, I'm not saying he's right about it. I'm just saying, for me, I'm Machiavellian Batman. I don't even know. I don't think it's still right, but I think it's a little better. Machiavellian Batman. You know what I mean?
The
point is, like, he's a little sinister in his delivery, though. I love how he has like that real haunting, like he's eerie,
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So let's see. So again, while he is Batman, Bruce Wayne is the seed of the mission here, where he says, you're not well, Mr. Wayne. And I think that's kind of what's influenced performance here. Basically, if you take Bruce Wayne out of the equation, if Bruce Wayne is the seed of the mission, if you just had scary vigilante Batman, you would have this Batman. I think that's kind of where he's getting kind of that more it's a Batman, but he's all intimidating. There's no humanity. There's no guy behind the mask. It's just what our reveal character might view Batman as, and encroaching on his own happiness.
Sure.
Get a little ahead of you there, but anyway, so
sure, definitely.
So Bruce is the world's greatest detective.
He's at the detective work, Dragon.
Yes, world's greatest detective figures it all out here. This is all a dream, and you're responsible.
Like you said, he kind of explains the left side and the right side brain function, which, as you said, it makes perfect sense in the context of the show. I'm sure in real life it's a little bit more gray than that, but
yeah. Again, it sounds good, folks. At the end of the day, we don't care. Come on, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, like reading is a function of the right side of the brain.
All right.
And dreams are a function of the left side. That's what we're saying. Anyway, so it's impossible to read something in the dream, it's just like, granting that's true, what does it have to do with me? You're the key to all this. This tower is part of my nightly patrol. And grabs Batman in the dramatic shot we have here. And I love this. I caught this, honestly, rewatching, like, for tonight. I was rewatching this. The moment he grabs Batman in the GCPD, again, they're closing in on him. Again, that's the last defense of the mind. There was like, okay, they show up. The minute he puts hands on this Batman, he's getting really close to.
Oh yeah,
he's already figured out it's a dream. So we have that spotlight effect, and we have this great fight scene between the two of them, like Batman versus Batman. Here we got some cool strikes from like there's this great rib karate chop of that Batman does to Bruce Wayne, and Bruce flips him, and it's good. And of course, the rain and wind effects look really good. It looks kind of very Fleischer Superman-esque, honestly. You know, all the rainfall.
Of course.
Then Tiki takes to the big reveal.
All right, so Bruce continues to fight and then pulls off Batman's mask and then reveals it is the Mad Hatter. Dun dun dun.
So again, folks, that theme that you've been hearing throughout the episode, it's the Mad Hatter's theme, but played in has variation on it, where they basically like it's made more eerie and dreamlike, but it's the Mad Hatter theme from the very beginning.
All right, so the Mad Hatter explains that yes, it's definitely a dream world. And basically, to put it simply, the Mad Hatter, like Bruce kind of ruined his life. Batman ruined his life. And so he wanted to create a dream world that Bruce could never escape from so that the Mad Hatter could in turn escape from Batman.
Yes. So important thing mentioned with the Mad Hatter here, this is why I was dancing around when we did the Mad Hatter episode, Tiki, is that Paul Dini knew they were going to do the Mad Hatter. And this is the episode that, again, he was like involved in the press. He didn't write this one, but he knew what they wanted to do with the Mad Hatter, and they wanted to do this episode with him. So that's why they did the origin episode for him.
Nice.
And again, because Roddy McDowall, he's so good in this episode. This is one of and honestly, again, we do other things with the Mad Hatter, but this still is the finest performance we ever did. One of the finest Mad Hatter stuff we ever did with him here. Where he's so. He's so wonderful. I know it's a dream projection of the Mad Hatter, but he's so delightful. But you know everything about me. No, I do, but nothing is revealed to the outside world, and it's oh boy, and I love how cocky the Mad Hatter is, right here, and and then Bruce he's very serious. He demands that this little cocky Mad Hatter he bring him back, bring me back now. You don't like the fantasy world I created for you? It's not real. And again, I love the drama of it all here, where it's just, it's not real. I have the big ethical question.
At the end of the day, Dragon, let's face it, the Mad Hatter, like, if it weren't for some key details that he couldn't perfect, this is a damn good fantasy for Bruce Wayne. It's like he knows what to, he knows what he wants. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Again, it's like the perfect scenario, and the perfect he doesn't even know his secret on the outside world. The Mad Hatter doesn't care about killing Batman. He just wants to get him out of the way. Like, okay, I'm gonna give him a Wonderland. That's my little stamp on it all. But hey, I just keep him out of mine. And here's the big kind of almost Philip K. Dick level question, kind of your Total Recall, kind of devil's kind of devil on your shoulder question. Okay, not forget the devil on the shoulder thing. It was stupid. The point is, like, it's kind of the big kind of Total Recall question, like, what is reality? What is, could you live a life? Could you live like a dream life? Would it be enough for you? Like, what is real?
The dream is the reality. And who are you to say otherwise?
Ah, nice.
All right, to be fair, I've kind of given up on Dunkirk. I don't have one for Dunkirk.
Okay, I'll at the end, I'll see if I can come up with something. I mean, I'll give you a lazy one right now. It's that, hey, we have an English actor here, Roddy McDowall, Dunkirk, Mark Rylance. It's a lazy one, but we'll see if we can do any better by the end. So,
I want to say something about kind of it being a life and death scenario, but that's the thing, Dragon. Kind of the really interesting thing about this episode is that it's not a life and death scenario.
Right. Of course, we have this excellent line by the Mad Hatter too, where he quotes Alice in Wonderland, or actually, he quotes Through a Looking Glass. Where he says, it's not real. It's and then he, in response, says, "Are you the dreamer, or merely part of someone's dream? That's what Tweedledee said to Alice, and through the looking, this isn't some silly storybook. And again, it's just, I love that is kind of the Mad, at the end of the day, this is the Mad Hatter's dream. This is his dream to get Batman out of the way. And that's the dream that he's referring to in that quote. And you had your own private wonderland. You had wealth, you had wealth, you had family, you had everything you could ever dream of. And then, of course, I won't live a lie, no matter how attractive you make it. Such a great, profound line. That's where the line is with Batman. He can't live that fantasy life because he knows it's not real. And he gives up, happiness again. While falsified happiness, it's like happiness for a guy who's just kind of had it all stripped away from and has to, go out there and put himself at risk every day. And he says, you can't. Basically, Hatter's walking him through like you can't hurt a dream and you can't wake up. The police are closing in, again, very much like the opening scene from Inception. Again, folks, I want to make clear, we're doing all this Nolan stuff in film. We're not trying to undercut the episode.
Of course.
So the police close in, and I love this scary, this is a really scary dream idea where he says, do you want to spend the rest of your dream life in Arkham? Where, again, like if he breaks the programming of this dream thing, he might just end up in Arkham. Scary idea, like, and then his dreams could turn to nightmares for all you know. And then, of course, Bruce, he's kind of contemplating things. He's looking out on the side, and we have the big moment where he gets the idea. That's Shirley Walker music, da-da! And then he's rushing towards the. Okay, I have my Dunkirk reference here. We have this really tense, awesome score going on here, very much like the tense, awesome score we have in Dunkirk.
I can take that.
Basically, where Dunkirk keeps building and building and building the tension here, we have kind of a similar kind of build and build up that we've been doing through the whole episode of like kind of taking that Mad Hatter theme, and now we've intensified it to the big kind of it's whimsical but kind of scary now.
Oh, sure.
Bruce sees him and Mad Hatter again as like the last vestige of this program is just saying, no, you what if you're wrong? Basically, again, now they had to dance around this, Tiki, because this is a big thing, having your main character essentially commit dream suicide.
This is kind of like the Pigeon Man of the Batman the Animated Series canon.
Yes, but this is far more intentional, though.
Sure.
Greg Barrow's always like been fighting that one, but this one absolutely is like they had to fight this and they had to fight for this, and they had to, like, they couldn't show him like jumping off. They couldn't show his feet leaving the ground. Essentially, what they had to do is, Bruce, he looks at the Mad Hatter and he says, "Then I'll see you in your nightmares." And we have this tricky scene where he runs off. And we have this great lightning that's been going on throughout the scene. We have like these flashes of light that kind of obscure things. And we cut to the cops who just break through the barricade of the door. And he says, "Mr. Wayne, no!" And again, as they say no, we see him falling forward from an angle, and we don't, again, as far as we show that he's not like jumping, and of course we see directly he's okay. That's the only way they were able to get away with it. And we hear that
we get a smash cut, like just as soon as just as quickly as he enters the dream, he exits the dream.
Like, there's no splat, and you're right, Tiki, it feels so wonderfully full circle and like that abrupt cut. Again, it's kind of the in medias res. Crap, I butchered that. The point is, it's sort of like you start in the middle of the dream effect, So then he wakes up, and again that Walker music's getting and he gets up, and he's like effortlessly he beats up the henchman. And he gets up, he removes the helmet, and then I love how legitimately ticked off Batman is at the Mad Hatter after what he put him through. And he goes to him and says, Why did you do it?
I mean, to me, that's a very haunting moment, because it's just like it shows the after effects of what a dream can have on you, Dragon. Like, I remember having a dream where this is going to go pretty dark, but I think it kind of fits with the kind of heavy subject matter we're going with here. I remember having a dream where my father was on his deathbed.
Oh, wow, that's scary.
Yeah, and you can imagine waking up from that. Like, I actually took the day off of school to spend time with my dad after that, because it was just like, just like a real, like, that still lingers with me. That feeling still lingers with me. You know what I mean?
I had an oddly similar thing when I was younger. So it was really weird. Here's the thing: it was scary, but then it turned kind of funny. where I kind of, as a kid, I guess it freaked me out as a kid initially, but then I guess I may have, I don't know if I saw the bright side afterwards or as it was going on. That's the thing where my father was kind of, he had like a, it's going to sound really weird. He had like a disembodied robot head, and there was it was clear like a robot. Head. That's the thing, is it wasn't gory or anything, because again, I was a kid. So again, it was like picture like a his head was off his body and like there, but it was real. And then I guess either in the dream or afterwards, I figured, oh, it was kind of fun though. You like kind of toss around the head and stuff, carry him around places. So again, it turned it was staged horrifically. He was on the couch, and then the head was just kind of like on the ground. But again, robot.
Okay, so point being, I think you and I can really agree, this episode speaks very well to the surrealist, kind of mentally scarring nature that dreams can have on you.
Yeah, but again, I never forget it, folks. That's why I can definitely agree with you on that front. Yeah. So we wakes up, and then we have Roddy McDowell's finest performance, where he says, he goes, why did you do it? And then his response, with tears in his eyes and the animation, this is where Dong Yang delivered, man. You see the impassioned performance. It's communicate what he's doing here, where it says, "You of all people have the gall to ask me that. You ruined my life. I was willing to give you any life you wanted, just to keep you out of mine." And he's sobbing, and he drops to his. I think that's why I write in kind of people dropping to their knees sobbing in so many of our pitches. I really think that's why.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't know why. It's always a powerful end. So then, folks, how could it get any better?
You have a powerful ending. Oh man,
how does it get any better? Of course, this is for posterity. This is why the episode gets even better for me. So Jim Gordon shows up for a cameo, not just any cameo, a really memorable cameo.
Oh yeah.
Where, we have Gordon on the scene holding a little memory device, and he was on Batman's head. And he says, something for the lab boys to have fun with, or something for the lab boys to tinker around with. And he says, what do you make of it? Do you have any ideas about it? And we reveal Batman over his shoulder here, and Batman with the most, Kevin Conroy with the most solemn, again, this is a guy who's been through an experience, and he's living with that experience, where he says, yes, the stuff that dreams are made of. He turns around, he walks away, and of course, famous words from the famous last line of the Maltese Falcon.
Oh yeah.
So, oh my God, fantastic. So yes, I mean, this episode is truly phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't even have that much more to say about it, Dragon. I'd just be like echoing my own points. You know what I mean? It's I feel like this episode is it's so high concept. As we illustrated, it pretty much represents all the Christopher Nolan mindfuckery of his entire canon in one 20-minute episode.
And before its time, too, which is even more.
You're right. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a masterclass. And Dragon, I'm sorry, like, no offense to the other episodes, but don't be surprised that this ends up never being top for me.
But even if it's not top, I mean, you can go happy if you having this episode, though, right? It's like, it gave you Perchance the dream. So again, for me, just to summarize basically what he says, that this is a brilliant episode. It's Conroy's favorite for a reason, I think. And I don't think it's just because he got to do a lot as an actor. I think it's because he gave one of his finest performances all throughout this episode. Really, it holds up tremendously well on a rewatch. I was amazed about how many, all the dream logic things that kind of occurred to me on a rewatch. It's like, oh my God, this episode really does hold up, and it has so many of those deep levels to it, both profoundly as like how it affects the Batman character, and how it's the method which it's executed, and again, at the end of the day, it's a testament to why Batman is a hero and a compelling hero. What it boils down to, that moment of, like, something we kind of play within the Arkham games of, like, Batman's a static character. He's a character who doesn't change. And we kind of do that in a even more interesting level here, where, he's a compelling hero because he was offered everything he ever wanted, but because it wasn't real, because it wasn't earned. It wasn't like, because it wasn't earned, because it was a falsehood, because it doesn't really, I'm going to read into this. I'm just kind of on the fly here. I'm going to read into this. That at the end of the day, it's that Bruce Wayne deep down feels that, even in a dream, where again his everything in front of him, practically what I guess he could imagine that he could feel and see and taste and touch and everything, again, it may have seemed so real and such like a happy ending for him, but again, deep down, Batman was smart enough to know it wasn't true. And I like to think that ethically, that his Batman's morals, the strongest thing about him, his morals and his principles. He knows the job isn't done. He knows that he's not done avenging his parents. And I think that deep down, again, I'm reading into it. There's no evidence to suggest, but there's no evidence not to suggest that's why he kind of knows it's not real and I can't accept this. So again, it's such a testament to who Batman is as a character. It's a perfect episode. It's one of those perfect episodes,
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay.
So you want to get your Bill Dozier on?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. An obscure Batman comic adapted. Wormwood. A proto-Riddler. A bat signal. Can Batman outsmart the elaborate... Can Batman outsmart the elaborate Hosea Wormwood? Will his cape and cowl fall into the wrong hands? Find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with the Cape and Cowl Conspiracy.
Then I'll see you in your nightmares.
Da, 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 da.